They're dumbing us down with music. And I'm not talking about 3-chord pop or the hippity hop or even that 432 stuff. But I am talking about vibrations on a vibrational sensory level. They're numbing our ability to be able to perceive the vibrations of the universe around us. So let's talk about music. So you think about live music, and it's this live sound that you're hearing, especially like an acoustic instrument. You hear it, and it's just something that you feel, and it just resonates with you. And anybody that's into live music, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then they start recording it, but you record it onto an album, to a record, to vinyl, and that's an actual waveform that it's actually taken this needle and recorded this waveform into this thing. And so that's why hipsters are so into the vinyl resurgence, because it actually sounds real, and it actually sounds deep and full, and it's that full spectrum. Because you look at an audio waveform, and it looks like this, but then you zoom in on the computer, and you can really see there's so much detail. It's not just a crisp waveform, it's so much complexity into this waveform. And so then you start recording it onto other formats like a CD. The CD is super low quality. So there's a thing called a sample rate. And so that's how often every second that they take a picture of this. 44,100 samples per second, which sounds like a lot. But really, to get the complexity of an audio waveform with, all these instruments and all this, it's infinitely complex. You could keep zooming in on a waveform of light, of sound, of anything, and it just is so much complexity. And then we think of ourselves being vibrations, and imagine the complexity of our story, of our thread. And so then you go to MP3, and so to make that file so much smaller for MP3, what it does is the computer calculates the least important information. This computer determines what is important and what is not important, and it just deletes that. And so then that's how they flattened that waveform. So it had this waveform that was just so much complexity and so much vibrance and so much depth to it. And so they basically iron that out. And so they make that a lot flatter, so then it's just a lot smoother of a waveform. So it takes up less space, but there's less vibration, there's less complexity. And so they do that with lights. LED lights have a lot less complexity to the light. We're used to fire being of the earth and being rich and pure and warming you up and being this full spectrum of vibrance, and now it's down to flattened LED lights, and it's with everything. They're numbing our ability to be able to perceive the vibrations, knowing that the entire universe is these vibrations that we're connected to and meant to perceive, and the Schumann resonance of the earth. They're shutting that down. They've got us disconnected from the cycles of the moon. We're using a calendar that's nothing to do with the moon, or not daytime savings time that's nothing to do with the days of the sun, and they're disconnecting us from the natural cycles of everything we're supposed to perceive that we are the universe.